Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of 3D printed photography. And today we're going to make a more general video about 3D printing in general and my experience with my Creality Ender 2 over the last year of printing. Let's get to it. Hey guys, welcome back. It's another great Saturday morning down here in my basement, which I like to call the Nerd Cave. Today, let's discuss a little bit about my 3D printer. I just want to make this video just to show some of the challenges I've encountered and, you know, the regular use that I get out of it. I have I think it's called a Creality, whatever it is, Ender 2. I bought this printer because it could print easily out of the box after assembly. At least that's what all the reviews said. Mine was, I had a few challenges in the beginning, I'll get into those in a second, but here you can see it's a small printer. It's about, I think it's 150 by 150 on the print bed size, which means it's about 6 inches by 6 inches. So you're not going to print anything real large on this. So it does have that downfall, but it is a great printer to get started with. I've had this for about a year. So I want to go over, you know, a couple of things that are going on with it. I think the first thing is some trouble I had in the beginning. Let me see if I can get down here and get a better look. This section right here, when I put it together, like the directions said and all the videos, I think you can see that little gold piece right there. Those are the metal pieces that pinch on the end of the belt. They keep the belt in place on the print bed. I put those on originally, and the directions said put those facing up, and it caused a big warp in the middle of the bed, and I couldn't get it level. And if any of you know anything about 3D printing, a level bed is essential to getting your prints to lay down. So what I did to improvise was flip the belt around and then put the gold pieces down. They slide in the channel and it works good. Now I got on a Facebook group and asked a few people about this, and they said you know, what you could do also is just adjust the Z-axis, because really what you're doing is you're pulling your bed down more this way. So the Z-axis, if you don't know, is the up and down of a 3D printer. So it has an XY and then the Z. And over here on the side of the printer, let me see if I can get into this, is where you would adjust your Z-axis to get, because that little switch right there will tell the printer when it's at the bottom. So when it hits that, it stops. So what I have to do is loosen those screws and adjust it up a little bit. I haven't done that yet, and you may be saying, hey, why haven't you done that yet? And it's because I have been printing like crazy for the last year, and honestly I don't want to take my printer down, and this seems to work okay, but I am going to have to do it when I go to the glass bed, and I'll do a video when I go to the glass bed, but that's going to be real involved. Will probably end up being a long video, longer than I'm used to shooting, on how you adjust, you know, your Z-axis to get your glass bed. Because when you add glass on top of this, it's going to raise up your print bed by, you know, 1/4 inch or however thick the glass is, 1/8 of an inch, whatever it is. So you're going to have to adjust that Z so it won't come crashing down and crack your glass. I want to go over the mods that I've done. A lot of people do crazy mods to their printer. I'm not big on mods because whenever you do a mod, you always end up seeming to have a problem with printing, and you got to troubleshoot for several hours before you're back to printing again. And I bought a printer to print. I didn't buy it to tinker with it all the time. So this is one mod I did, and it's a filament guide. So I just printed that and attached it onto the Z stabilizer, I guess we would call that. And guess what? I had a problem printing after that. I couldn't get my Z to work right. It got too tight. And it turns out I just tightened these screws a little too much. Once I backed it off, put it back in, redid everything, I finally got it working again. So it took me a little while to figure that out. Which is probably, you know, another reason why I don't mod a lot. Some mods are worth it, but if you're just starting out, I would keep your mods to a minimum until you get to know your machine real well. And that brings me to my next point. If you're going to get into 3D printing, prepare for a gigantic learning curve. When I got into it, I didn't know really a thing about it other than the basics of, you know, the axis and melting the plastic and laying down a print. I have learned so much about this in the last year, and I still have a lot to learn. But it's been a great journey. I'm, I think, a troubleshooter by nature. It's something I enjoy doing, but I also like printing. So prepare to have a balance in that between troubleshooting and printing. You're going to spend a lot of time online looking for answers and learning how your machine works, basically. So do a lot of reading, a lot of video watching before you get into it, and then prepare to do a lot more, you know, after you get a printer. Another mod I did that didn't involve taking the machine apart at all was this little tool tray underneath the print bed. It just slides in and out. It's got a little slot. I got that off of Thingiverse. It works really well. Also, what I've done to my printer is, you can see it back there. I had an older Raspberry Pi laying around, so I went ahead and loaded Octopi, which is a version of Octoprint, on that, so I could just send everything to it from my computer. I don't have to mess with the SD card slot, which is a micro SD, and it's down under here. And I'm getting old, and it's hard to see, and that micro SD is very tiny, so there's not really good access to it, which is probably another downfall. A lot of people will buy a cable that plugs into here, comes out, and holds a regular SD card to get around that. But I already had the Raspberry Pi laying around, and I'm kind of an IT nerd, so that was easy for me to set up with Octopi. I've done other Raspberry Pi projects, so I wasn't intimidated at all by that, and that's really worked out well. Now, another problem I have, and this comes with Octopi and this printer, is right here is the USB cable that runs from the Pi back there up to here, and that's where it basically sends your print into the printer. So it's kind of like almost like a serial connection. It just dumps it down there. The USB port on this thing is a little flaky, so I haven't figured out how to permanently fix it yet. And the way this happens is I'll start a print, and it'll print for, you know, let's say it's a 4-hour print. It'll print for, you know, an hour and a half, and then it'll stop, and it won't move. And when I go to the Octopi webpage, it tells me that it lost connection to the printer. So this connection can be fussy occasionally. It hasn't happened a ton. I have a video on it. I probably need to get in and do some soldering to make that a little stronger, but right now it doesn't happen enough that it irritates me so much that I feel like doing something about it. Also, one more thing, I do a lot of time lapses of my prints, and I'll put those in the videos of the stuff that I make. I bought this Logitech webcam. It's a nice HD webcam. It's not, you know, I'm kind of a camera guy too. It's probably not the best camera in the world, but it is HD. It needs a lot of light. So I just go ahead and put a light here on top of the workbench to get a little extra. But it does a good job of time lapsing, especially when I pay, you know, I think $5 for that camera, and you know, you buy them new, they're about $100. So So it was a great deal, good enough. If I paid $100 for it, I'd be disappointed, just because it's not that great. But I'll put a link to that in the description, also a link to the printer. It's been a great fun adventure over the last year, learning these 3D printers. I'm hoping next year, as we get into this, is December now, so next year's not that far away. What I usually do now is just download things from Thingiverse and print them out. I've done a few things in Tinkercad online. I want to do more Tinkercad work and share that with you on how I solve individual custom type problems around the house and manufacture my own parts. I also want to do a couple videos on 3D printing trends, where it's going. I'm obviously not going to have the best equipment in the house, but it'll be make for good discussion and hopefully get more people involved. There is one more problem I wanted to share, and you guys are probably screaming it because you can hear it as it goes on. Another problem with the Ender 2 are the fans. The fans are inside this metal case right back here, and let me get a little closer and see if you... Well, it stopped doing it at the moment, but you'll hear it. Oh, there it goes again. It makes some noises. The fans in these things are probably not the best quality. So I've bought some replacement fans to replace that noisy fan in there that's probably failing, but I just haven't got around to it yet. So that one's on the list. Again, I like to print. I don't really want to sit around and fix my machine the entire time, but sometimes it is necessary. So another thing to be prepared for, to just troubleshoot and fix the machine. One more thing I want to talk about is this is the power supply that came with the Ender 2. A lot of people complain about it, saying that it's unreliable, it's dangerous, whatever. I personally have never had a problem with mine in the last year. I do have a couple of old Xbox 360 power supplies that I have ready to go just in case this thing fails, because I know a lot of people have done that project, and when it comes to that, I will make a video on that. You can get those Xbox 360 power supplies just about anywhere these days. I don't know if you guys have a Goodwill outlet in your area, but I see them there all the time. So you could probably pick one up for $5 there. But as you can tell, I mean, it's not really loud. We're down here in the unfinished part of the basement. But we do have environmental controls. I'd highly recommend putting yours in an area that is heated and cooled. Otherwise you're just going to have additional problems with expanding and contracting of pieces. The nozzle's not going to probably stay hot enough if it's out in too cold of an area. So just keep that in mind. Depending on your climate, you're probably not going to want to have it in the garage. So find an area for it that'll have a better chance of success for printing. Well, that's all we have today, guys. I just want to go over my experience with the Ender 2. It is highly recommended. I mean, if you really want to get into 3D printing, this is an easy one. Again, not completely easy, but easier probably than other printers that I have heard about. There's also an Ender 3 out that has a little bigger print bed. I haven't had experience with that. I am going to shop around for another printer that has a larger bed. But that's coming in the future. I'll make a video about that too as I go through that process. But that's all we have today. Thanks for watching. Leave a comment. Let me know your experience with this printer if you've had any, and any questions you have. I'll be happy to answer. Okay, guys. One other thing I wanted to tell you about dealing with my Ender 2 printer. I would highly suggest you join the Facebook group. There's an Ender 2 Facebook group out there. A whole bunch of people in it. I'm in it, so you can look for my name and see it in there. To know if you have the right one or not. There are files you can download for settings for your printer. I think one of the things I struggled with in the very beginning was being brand new to 3D printing, was getting my printer settings dialed in so I got smooth prints. I think when I first started they were a little rough, just didn't look good, or it didn't feel good when you touched them. So I found a file in there I downloaded and was able to get my printer to start printing well. If you don't want to go to the Facebook group, you're not a Facebook person, go out and search for a CR10 settings file, and then change the print bed once you load it into like Cura. These are Cura setting files. I use Cura to print, to slice my files to get them into G-code. So look for a Cura settings file for a CR10. Set the print bed size to 150 by 150, and then I think the Z, the height, is 300 for the Ender 2. So all you have to do is change those same settings, and you should be good. That's all we have for today. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.